So today I have the pleasure of sitting here with my friend and someone who's actually brought me along in terms of my personal MovNat practice, Danny Clark.
Thanks for having me, Chi.
Danny, you want to just introduce yourself to everybody?
Sure. I'm Danny Clark. I am the performance director of MovNat. I've been working for the company for about 4 or 5 years, and I'm just really passionate about what MovNat is all about. And MovNat, as you know, we've gone through a certification together, is about just moving more naturally, which sounds sort of vague in a way, but really it's about moving the way that your body was designed to move, right? So in fitness, we commonly approach movements and performance sort of through a reductionist viewpoint, where we try to either isolate body parts, or we try to isolate movements through machines. And MovNat's really about viewing your body yourself as the organism it is. Instead of thinking about it like a machine, it's viewing it as a species-specific sort of movement protocol that we go through. So it's getting back to the basics, right? It's like you've gone through this, right? We get back to, can you move on the ground? Can you get up and off the ground? Can you balance? Can you crawl? Can you do things like lifting and carrying, some of the more traditional things that we do in fitness, but also can you do a lot of other things that we a lot of times miss in fitness?
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
So, just in terms of my own personal experience with it was, I've come from a strong foundation in bodybuilding and just like weightlifting, and then when I stumbled upon MovNat, I was kind of curious to see what this was all about. At the time, I was researching animal flow and some of these other natural movement curriculums as well, and I stumbled upon MovNat, and I reached out to them and invited them to Boston to come and host a certification, and I'm glad I did, because I got to meet Danny and was exposed to MovNat.
Thank you.
And as you can see, Danny has just described what MovNat is about. So I have some questions for Danny, so that way I'm sure like these are questions that some of you are probably wondering as well, just as I was when I was in that primitive stage in terms of exploring what natural movement was.
Right. It's like, what is this whole thing, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of seen it all in fitness, so it's like, what else can be out there? But MovNat's definitely distinct, especially in its perspective, But we can go down the philosophy rabbit hole, of course, with MovNat. It's about nature, it's about reconnecting to your body. But I'd love to see what do you got for me?
Sure. So one of the questions is, who should practice MovNat?
Well, really anybody who has a human body. So it's meant for human beings, really. So anybody. It's really about connecting to the most foundational movement patterns that we do as human beings. And so whether you are somebody who doesn't really like moving, and maybe you feel stiff and you just want to feel a little better in your body, it's about getting back to those patterns so you can rebuild your base, kind of almost press reset in a way, and start feeling better, start feeling like a little bit smoother in how you move, and just overall how you cognitively feel, because movement and cognition are so linked. It's just getting back to that almost like childhood essence of enjoying movement. Now, if you're somebody who already does fitness and maybe you're looking to complement your practice with something else, again, whether it's because it's for a restorative reason or because you're like, I need some different stimulation. I've been doing the same thing over and over again, the same 10 movements or whatever it is. Instead of just getting stronger at these particular movements, maybe I want to just try something else, add some more movement richness to my practice. Because diversity, just like taking a multivitamin, we don't just take vitamin C every day. We try to get as much spectrum as we can. So adding more diversity to your movement nutrition is a good thing. And then for somebody who's really looking to embark in a whole other side of fitness, again, whether it's because you weren't interested in fitness or you don't identify as someone who likes movement, or it's because you're looking for something new, MovNat is a whole practice in and of itself. So it's not just something to complement fitness. It also can be something that can be approached like a martial art in a lot of ways. And we're both martial artists, so we understand that a lot, but it's something that there's a lot of depth, there's a lot of nuance, there's a lot, you can embark on this whole different way of looking at your body, nature, and how to train.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of for anybody.
Great. So you heard it here. So no matter whether you're young, old, or if you have a human body, you should be able to take MovNat if you're interested in coming and exploring. We are hosting a workshop um, March 24th, 2019, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's a 6-hour workshop, which Danny is actually leading. I know some of the people who are coming here will probably wonder, are there any prerequisites for this Elements workshop?
Yeah, that's a great question, Chi. Because a lot of people sometimes, especially if you look at the videos, you're like, "Whoa, this can be pretty intense." Like there's jumping around, there's a lot of somewhat athletic-looking movements that are a part of the curriculum. But really, Elements, this particular workshop especially, is meant for total beginners. It's meant for if my grandparents came in and wanted to learn the essentials of MovNat. We kind of scale it to who's there, but it is broken down to the level of nuance to make anybody feel comfortable that they're not going to be left behind, that they're it's not going to put them at risk in any way. And likewise, for somebody who maybe is already a little bit more advanced, there's always ways to improve and refine. So this is just resetting your base so that whatever else you do, whether it's MovNat or whatever, it's going to make you better at. So it's there's no prerequisites, in other words. If you're piqued or interested in this in any way, this is the best way to get a good, solid introduction into the practice.
Awesome. So for people who are signed up or intending to sign up and attend these workshops, this workshop here specifically, this Elements workshop led by you, what should their expectations be, I guess, like leaving the workshop? Like, is there any special equipment that they need to bring? Is there anything else that they need to know about prior to coming to the workshop? What should they think about taking away from the workshop as well?
Yeah, so again, it just really depends on your intention in a lot of ways. It's like whatever the more you come with an intention, the more you're gonna walk away fulfilling that need. So if you're coming in and you're saying, I'm open-ended, I just want to show up and check this out, bring a notebook, and maybe you'll find some gems that you're going to take with you, or maybe you'll just swallow the whole pill and want to continue down the MovNat trajectory and train here and continue that. That said, if you have a specific intention, like you're like, hey, I've got a shoulder injury and I really want to work on this, again, bring a notebook, and make sure you're prepared to ask those questions and work through some of that stuff slowly. And there's what you can take away from a MovNat event is either some specific drills that you can do to add into your existing fitness routine, or you can figure out things that you can sort of inject into the things you already do in your life. That's what's really cool about MovNat. It's because it's about practical, natural movements. A lot of the movements are written into the things we do every single day. Even though we don't live supernatural lives, we sit in elevated chairs all the time, we're pretty sedentary, you still walk to your car, you still go up steps, you still go out and play with your kids or your grandkids or whoever that is. There's plenty of movement opportunities within your life. Everybody has a floor they can get down on. So that notebook will help you transcribe whatever your intention is into whatever action you want afterwards. And that's how we wrap it up, is we talk about how do we take this information that we just learned, this sort of fundamental patterns and ways to approach movement, and how do we actually translate it into something tangible, something that'll lead to immediate action that's going to enrich whatever you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
I know, like, for myself personally, I've incorporate a lot of this into my practice with like my clients, including like some of these like natural movements, some balance work, and some of these other things that have been very, very successful and fruitful for my clients, and it keeps the workouts very interesting and fun as well, and definitely not mediocre or the kind of stale kind of workouts that you're used to doing on a regular basis. You go to the same gym, same pieces of equipment, doing the same things over and over and over again, but you can still be able to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. Maybe it's an overhead press, but we can do it through natural movement rather than just like fitness equipment.
Yeah, that's the nice thing, is we're not just gonna be doing correctives, right? Like this isn't gonna be a PT session necessarily, and it's not just gonna be a lifting session either, or just how to, burn body fat or build muscle. It's really about engaging movements. We create environments when we understand what the full spectrum of natural human movement looks like, and we just look for opportunities to engage in those patterns. And then the nice thing about natural movement is, by definition, they're functional, meaning when I do a natural movement, I am most oftentimes sort of gaining the things that we strive for in therapy in a lot of ways, you know? Like, not to say this replaces therapy by any means, but like by balancing, a lot of times you're gaining the stability, the motor control, the torso control, all these things that we look for to kind of regain function and feel good and confident in our bodies and pain-free. It's by default the program that happens when we engage with our environment. So creating a simple thing like a balancing situation, instead of trying to approach that indirectly, we can approach it very directly and gain all these awesome things and have fun while doing it. That's kind of the point. It's like, how do we get back to that original program, right, where we were kids and we were testing ourselves and letting our environment sharpen us? We suppress that instinct to do that. We don't create a lot of movement opportunities. MovNat's about doing that, but doing it in a safe, conscious, professional, kind of organized way.
So basically, we're gonna learn how to play again.
Yeah. In a manner of speaking, sure. Yeah. We're gonna get excited about moving. We're gonna be able to use logic, but we're also gonna bring back the passion into movement, and that usually expresses itself through play, for sure.
Great. Well, Danny, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah.
And everyone, stay tuned. Make sure that you sign up for the workshop if you're looking to. The link to the workshop will be in the blog here. So give it a click and then sign up, and we'll see you hopefully on March 24th.